As always, we appreciate you joining us today. This is part 2 of Aging in Place is an Illusion with our guest, Brandt Ross. Part 1 in June was a phenomenal success. We had many of you who tuned in to watch that. If you missed that webinar, you can always go to www.seniorlivinglive.com and watch part 1, which will, of course, allow part 2 to make a little bit more sense. So today, a reminder, we want you to join the conversation. As always, feel free at any point in time during our webinar today to submit your questions using the Q&A at the bottom of your screen. You'll see a little notation there at the bottom that says Q&A. You can type out your question, hit submit. Brandt will answer those questions at the midway point of the webinar and then again at the very end. And we expect this webinar to last about an hour. So today, Brandt is going to go a little bit more in depth about stories of friends who aged in place, financial recommendations for a non-financial person like myself, how to determine what you can afford. That is always a big question when we are discussing senior living, and also some thoughts on what senior living life is all about. So, some of you, as I mentioned, may have watched Brandt's first webinar back in June. And for those of you who did not, a little bit about our guest speaker. He was a very successful businessman specializing in problem solving for major companies. He has a beautiful family, 3 children, 6 grandchildren. Congratulations, Brandt. And he and his wife, Jenny, of course, have been living in a senior living community the past 6 years. He has certainly learned a lot during that time, and he is sharing his experiences with all of you. Without further ado, our guest speaker, Brandt Ross. Brandt, take it away.
Thank you, Melissa. Okay, we shall begin. We cannot have any kind of conversation without talking about the coronavirus. And an update. Since early February of this year, our world has changed. Everyone has been impacted substantially. No matter who you are, what you do, and where you live, your life has changed dramatically. We're all in some sort of survival mode. As seniors who are the primary target of this deadly virus, we really have one mission: to survive the coming weeks and months. All of us are in some stage of lockdown or quarantine, and there are a lot of things that we just cannot do. However, there are a lot of things that we can do, and we will talk about them. In my opinion, aging in place is even more hazardous than it was just a few months ago. Seniors isolated in their homes have many more risks and exposure to hazards. First, a disclaimer. I'm not a professional geriatric counselor. I am not a healthcare professional. I am not a financial advisor, nor am I a CPA, attorney, or certified financial planner. I'm a retired businessman. I ran multiple companies over the course of 35 years, sold many companies as an intermediary for over 15 years, and today I am retired but continue as an arbitrator for FINRA. I have been happily married for 61 years, have 3 children, 6 grandchildren. 6 years ago, we sold our home, downsized, and transitioned happily to a senior residence. Over the last 5 years, I've taught classes in many subjects, including senior transitioning, and have witnessed many sad situations with family, friends, and strangers. Before we begin part 2, let's do a recap of part 1. Aging in place. It sounds so simple, it sounds so easy, it sounds so practical. Why not? Stay where you are, stay in the home you love, near the things you love and the people you know and love. Much of the world is telling you to do it. Therefore, it must be right, or is it? You can have a downstairs bedroom, bathroom. You can have an elevator in your home. You can have a motorized chair on your stairs. You can have seniors sit in shower and tub. You can have doorways adapted, shelves, countertops adjusted, and make everything handicap friendly. You can make your home adaptable to aging in place. Walk-in tubs and showers, chair lifts for stairs. Widen the doorways to enable walkers and wheelchairs to be maneuvered. Indoor threshold ramps, which may be necessary for using a wheelchair. Appliances may not be in ideal locations. Countertops, cabinetry, and appliances may need modifications. Flooring may have to be changed or for wheelchair maneuvering. Hazard number one, your home. For many seniors, the home represents a significant part of their net worth. Putting more money into the home increases the investment, which may not be recoverable. Since we don't know our destiny, it's difficult to guess what our financial, physical, and emotional needs will be. The home is an illiquid asset. In other words, you cannot easily and quickly make it liquid into cash. It's my personal opinion that as we age, cash is king. Since we don't know our destiny, does it not make sense to have financial flexibility? Selling your home creates financial flexibility. Think about it. Let's say you make all the necessary changes in your home to make it senior livable. Since someday, no matter what, your home will have to be sold. Who is going to buy this home? The senior features may limit the potential buyers. Every senior says, and I've heard this so many times, I love my home. I get that. Bullet, your home doesn't love you. It will trip you. It will make you slip or fall. It will make unending demands on you. It will want a new roof, plumbing, windows, HVAC, new taxes, homeowner assessments, outside maintenance, and so on. No matter how much senior accessorizing you do, you're still likely to be at more risk of an accident. Here's an actual story of friends, and the names have been changed to protect the innocent and the guilty. Jeff and Eleanor, ages 76 and 73, have been married for 50 years. Both are retired after successful careers. They had two homes, one in downtown, one in the ocean. Eleanor had dementia and was finding it difficult to drive. Jeff had to be her caregiver and do all the driving and errands. Their three children thought they should do something to plan for the future. Jeff tripped 2 years later, last year, broke his hip and was in hospital rehab for 2 months. One daughter had to fly in and take care of Eleanor. Today, Eleanor is in memory care and Jeff is in an assisted living facility. Both are unhappy. The children are attempting to deal with two homes and the stuff, and they are at odds. When I say they're at odds, they are in very, very sad relationship with each other. Let's pause a moment and let's go back to 1957. Remember 1957 seems so long ago. Ike was the president. Elvis was at his peak. Every guy dreamed of a 1957 Chevy. The top movies with Sweet Smell of Success. This was a song that was written by Statler Brothers about a mythical class of 1957. Tommy's selling used cars, Nancy's fixing hair. Harvey runs a grocery store and Margaret doesn't care. Jerry drives a truck for Sears and Charlotte's on the make. And Paul sells life insurance and part-time real estate. Ellen is a hostess. Frank works at the mill. Janet teaches grade school and probably always will. Bob works for the city. Jackson lab research. And Peggy plays the organ at the Presbyterian Church. And the class of 57 had its dreams. Oh, we all thought we'd change the world with our great words and deeds. Or maybe you just thought the world would change to fit our needs. The class of 57 had its dreams. Betty runs a trailer park. Jan sells Tupperware. Randy's on an insane ward. Mary's on welfare. Charlie took the job with Ford. Joe took Freddie's wife. Charlotte took a millionaire and Freddie took his life. John is big in cattle. Ray is deep in debt. Where Mavis finally wound up is anybody's pet. Linda married Sonny. Brenda married me. And the class of all of us is just part of history. And the class of 57 had its dreams. But living life from day to day is never like it seems. Things get complicated when you get past 18. But the class of 57 had its dreams. The class of 57 had its dreams. Aging in place is an illusion. Hazard number 2, stuff. For almost all seniors, the home has been used to collect the family, quote, heirlooms, unquote, and all the treasures that all families accumulate. The seniors harbor the belief that their children and grandchildren will want these treasures. With few exceptions, you should realize they probably do not. The longer you delay stuff disposal, the harder it gets. Getting rid of this stuff in your house usually requires assistance. Hiring a professional downsizer will help you through the process. Keep saying to yourself, it's just stuff. Our life is really about family and friends. Permit me to digress for a moment and talk about a home and the stuff in it. It's a personal experience. September of 1989, Jenny and I were living on the ocean in Charleston, South Carolina. It was paradise. It was a small condominium on the beach and overlooked the golf course. We had moved there just a year before after having sold our home in West Virginia. It was a perfect location for my consulting practice and for Jenny to resume her nursing career. It was paradise. Our 3 children had all completed college and were launched on their careers in their chosen fields. 2 of our children were married and the 3rd had moved to a new position in her dream job. Life was good until September 19th, Hurricane Hugo evacuation order was issued. My wife and I left Charleston, South Carolina with 3 days of clothes and our valuables, thinking we would return shortly. And then Hurricane Hugo hit like a rifle shot. It hit Charleston. On 9/21/89 at midnight, Hurricane Hugo struck Charleston and the Barrier Islands with a Class 4 velocity and continued in the northeast. Hugo affected approximately 2 million people. Its direct effects killed 67 people and inflicted $11 billion in damage. After the hurricane, martial law was declared, and it was 2 weeks before we could return to our home for 2 hours. This is what we came back to. That was the only bridge that went to the barrier island we were living on. That was the marina. That was the welcome center. And that was our condominium property. Our condominium. And the pool. And our living room. All that white stuff is a combination of ground glass and insulation. Of course, all the windows imploded. It rained for 2 weeks. It was almost like a horizontal rain, so the place had 2 feet of water in it on the 3rd floor. That's how quickly your stuff can go. Isn't it better if you start the process in an orderly way? The reason I tell this story is because for me, and I think for Jenny, it was a pretty important lesson about getting so attached to your stuff. And we kind of learned, really, in a sense, a tough lesson. It took us years, in a sense, to overcome all the issues that this caused. But we learned, basically, that it's just not about stuff. May God bless and keep you always. May your wishes all come true. May you always do for others and let others do for you. May you build a ladder to the stars, climb on every rung. May you stay forever young, forever young, forever young. May you stay forever young. May you grow up to be righteous. May you grow up to be true. May you always know the truth and see the light surrounding you. May you always be courageous, stand upright and be strong. May you stay forever young, forever young, forever young. May you stay forever young. May your hands always be busy, may your feet always be swift, may you have a strong foundation when the wind of changes shift. May your heart always be joyful, may your song always be sung, may you stay forever young, forever young, forever young. May you stay forever young. Let's pause for a moment. Now's a perfect time to do lots of things that we've all been dreading and avoiding. Get rid of unnecessary stuff. I just put this in yesterday, as a matter of fact. My wife has created many photo collages. The last one she finished just this week. She was able to dispose of hundreds of family photos and still preserve some wonderful images and memories. This is a pretty largest one she ever did. This is about one of those plexiglass frames, about 2 feet by 3 feet. There's probably 150 pictures in there in no particular order, but with all the family members, ancestors, children, grandchildren, and so on. It's just a wonderful way to preserve the boxes of pictures and the scrapbooks that we all have. And it will, as I say, it'll be a valuable heritage for you. Make use of the time you have. Attack the garage, the attic, your library. And especially with books, we all have lots of books. We got rid of probably 1,000 books, but we kept the books that we treasure. And that's what you just have to do. Go through using pressure-sensitive stickers to identify the ones you want to keep. But books can be read by other people. So many of the veterans' homes and so on, so many places where people want to read. Another story of people we know. Bill, in 2017, age 80, had a successful business career, then a retirement, and he traveled the world for years. His wife passed away years ago, and he dates occasionally. His children live locally, and although they're grown adults, they are needy and await their eventual inheritance. He contributes to their support as well as their children, and is troubled by their dependence on him. He lives alone in a 12-room home in need of much work. 3 months ago, in 2019, he was diagnosed with cancer. He's undergoing radiation and chemotherapy and is debilitated and needs home care. His middle child called recently and asked how much they would receive upon his demise. He's increasingly isolated and constant pain physically and emotionally. He finds it more difficult to make any decisions. The children are not helpful and are waiting and waiting. Hazard number 3, family. If you have family, here's what generally happens. Every decision that you do not make about your life and lives may end up being decided by your family. If there are multiple family members, there's a high probability of disagreements. Those disagreements can polarize the family and create long-standing issues. Is that what you want for your legacy? If you have one child, decisions not made may cause undue hardship on that child, especially considering their own job, family situation, location. If you have more than one child, it's likely that one of the children will have a disproportionate burden on them, perhaps causing a breach in their relationship. Every decision that you do not make is a potential threat to family harmony. Like, for example, an unsold house. One child wants to sell it, one wants to rent it, one wants to keep it and live in it. If you have no children, some relative may have to step in and make decisions. Choosing your next home is a complicated process. Whether you choose an apartment, a smaller condo, or a senior residence, there's a lot of research that you need to do. Doing it under stress as the result of an illness or an accident creates family trauma. Frequently, we see families come to town under time pressure to find a home, quote, for mom or for dad, unquote. All too often, the choice is quick and inappropriate. It is better for you to choose your own home. Socialization, hazard number 4. Healthcare professionals agree that socialization is one of the greatest senior health benefits. Aging in place can cause reduced socialization. Socialization puts a greater need on driving, which can be problematic. Reduced socialization can cause diminished interactive skills. Home health care specialists, and I do not mean to diminish the services that they provide, but home health care specialists can provide needed resources, but they don't usually provide the interaction with peers. We have so much in common. We are members of whether it's the greatest generation or the silent generation. We have many common bonds, shared experiences, and many stories to share with our contemporaries, family, and friends. It's time for intermission. Let's grab ourselves a snack.
Brandt, great stuff so far. Obviously, we've got more to come on the backside. Questions here at the halfway point of your webinar here today. Part 2 of Aging in Place is an Illusion. So for those of you who want to be a part of the conversation, this is a great time to type in your question, any questions you may have and you would like Brandt to answer. Just go down to the bottom of your screen. You will see a little icon that says Q&A. You can type it in and we will be sure to get these in now and at the very end of the webinar, all of the questions you'd like Brandt to answer. So the first one we have comes from, and she asks Brandt, what do you do when the beautiful downsized condo costs thousands more than what she could potentially get by selling her big house?
I would say, don't buy it. I'm very opposed, frankly, to seniors buying anything at our stage in life. I think that rental is the best thing simply because we don't know what our destiny is. And frankly, as I've often said, we don't know what's coming at us, and it's a good thing we don't. Who knew about this virus? Would we have done things different? I just think at this point in time, your objective is to sell your house and find a nice apartment to rent on a year lease. Yes, you're going to have annual rental increases, but what you're going to gain in terms of the financial flexibility, so since we don't know what's coming at us, is so important. I urge people not to buy, and I talk about senior residents that are buy-in. I am opposed to those for many reasons. I just think at this stage in our life, we are so much better off, flexibility reasons, to rent.
Yeah, great answer with that. Another question we have, how did you choose the community that you and your wife currently reside in?
That's a real good question. Because I teach senior classes and have for almost 6 years, over 6 years really, I had the chance to visit a number of the senior residences and all over Atlanta, simply doing classes there. Gave me the opportunity to see them superficially. And then when Jenny and I made the decision, we went and we visited the ones we had picked out, our top 3, so to speak. We visited those again, had meals at them, and we had a good feel. And when we made the decision on the Renaissance, you're going to have a feeling about a place. Summer, and it's going to be different circumstances that's going to appeal to different people. But we just felt very comfortable. And as I say, we've been here 6 years next month, and we've been very happy, even under the difficult circumstances that we're all in today.
Sure, understood. One of our viewers would like you, if you could, move a little bit closer to your computer where your microphone is so they can hear you just a little bit better. Brandt, we hear you great. But Chris would certainly appreciate that out there. Thanks for that notation, Chris. And let's see, we've got a couple more questions that have come in. What should people do with their stuff when moving? And do you have any ideas for how to get rid of things?
Oh, yes. We are experts in how to get rid of things. The first thing I suggest, and this was covered in the previous program, but I urge people just to make a simple investment and go out, buy pressure-sensitive labels. They sell them in little packs of green, yellow, and red. And you walk through your house and you mark put a pressure-sensitive label on everything. Red being we're going to get rid of it. Green we want to keep. Yellow is either for our kids or, if they want it, and if they don't want it, that's something else again. But once you do that, you make your life much easier because you don't have to move things. The reason that people procrastinate on this is because they're afraid I'm going to have to go to the bookshelf and take every book. You don't do anything like that. You just put labels on everything. And then when you start to attack a particular room, it's so much easier. But the big thing is really establishing in your mind, what is it that I really need? What is it I really need? And you'd be surprised, even as much as we love books, it really wasn't that hard. We got rid of 1,000 books, but we kept, the 300 that we treasure.
Great answer. And by the way, we did get a shout out from Karen, who says your audio now is excellent. So keep up whatever you're doing, Brandt. Great job. And I think we have a really important question, I think, that is for the sign of the times right now in the middle of this pandemic. We have a listener out there or somebody who's watching who wants to know essentially that, families are afraid during COVID due to the social isolation that they're facing because of government mandates to stay in their rooms and the lack of socialization with others, when the whole point of moving into a senior living community is socialization and all of the activities that go along with that. What have you experienced on that in your senior living community?
Well, I talk about that a little bit later in the program, but yeah, there's no doubt about it. Our lives have changed dramatically. But again, as I said, what is the mission at this point? Our mission, when I say each of us, our mission is to stay safe and survive. Yeah, we've been isolated, but I Zoom classes. I am Zooming at least one class almost every day of the week, teaching class, and I love it because maybe in a class of 25, we'll have wonderful discussions. People will talk about it's not perfect. It's not like being in a meeting room and having the chance to do it personally, but it's so much better than nothing. We Zoom with our family every Sunday. It's so much fun with our kids and grandkids, and it's so exciting. We really look forward to that. That was nothing we ever could have done before. So there are some benefits, but the Zoom, and that's a great platform, but there are other ones too, FaceTime certainly, or whatever. But those are the things, and as I say, what the Renaissance has done for us is keep us safe, bring all the meals to our room. Gradually, we're loosening up now. We're able to have meetings with 10 people in a large room. We're able to meet with our family outside in a socially distanced environment. And gradually, things are going to ease up. But I think we're, this way. And it's possible to do it. As I say, Zoom gives us the interaction that we must have.
Sure. Now we have a question about costs and what people can afford. And I know that this is also a part of your discussion today. So I'm going to get to that maybe last, and that can maybe lead us into the second part of the webinar here, Brandt. But I do have a question here that I think is excellent. I know you and Jenny have been married a very long time. I've met you both. You're fantastic. And this question comes from Jan. What advice do you have when one partner is ready to consider and the other isn't?
That's a great question because that happens about 100% of the time. I have met so many people doing presentations or Zoom presentations, but say, I want to move, my wife doesn't, or the wife says, I want to move, and my husband doesn't. It is a husband's and wife responsibility to take care of each other. What they have to do is do something that is the most difficult thing for a husband and wife to do, is to envision life without each other. And when they think in terms of this frame of reference, where do they want their spouse to be in the case that terrible, terrible tragedy will occur? And it will occur, sadly. I did this to protect my wife. And that's what I think every husband is responsible for doing, is to protect his wife, not his workbench, not his garage, not his landscaping. It's to protect his wife from all the things that could befall us. That's the most accurate description I can give of what we're facing.
Good. And we've got a couple more questions. I'm going to save some of these to the end. We have somebody has a question about the number of pets that people can bring to some of these communities. We will answer that on the back half of the webinar. Also about trust ownership versus individual ownership. We will discuss that as well. Maybe to start in on the second half of the webinar now, some people want to know about costs. How can they go about finding the cost for a senior living community? How can they determine what they can afford? And the third part of that question, how do you find out if you will like the people at your community?
You set me up good for the second part of the presentation.
Oh, I did.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We're going to cover all those things right now.
All right, take it away.
And I would urge you, I put my phone number then, my email address. If you have any questions that you'd like to ask or call me, I have no problem. This has become my mission, and it's extremely important to me. So don't hesitate to get in touch with me. We should probably take an aggressive approach. My allowance, 50 cents a week, and I want to retire at age 16. A suggestion. I am not a financial advisor, and I'm only passing this on as a personal suggestion. If you have multiple investment advisors, multiple banks, scattered accounts, I suggest you simplify and consolidate. I also believe your investment structure, as guided by your advisor, should be conservative and reasonably liquid. Also, be sure to check any advisor that you use with FINRA. What the heck is FINRA? FINRA is the department of the SEC that administers the brokers and financial planners in the U.S. Everybody must be a member. Every financial planner and broker must be licensed by FINRA. Every year, thousands of claims filed against investment advisors not acting in your best interest. Does this next slide ring any bells? If you can't see that, that's a statement that Bernie Madoff used to send out to his clients. And they were all phony. It just makes sense to be sure. Check out any investment advisor at the FINRA website, finra.org, and just all you have to do is Google broker check and it will take you there. Just Google broker check, it takes you to the FINRA website. So far, I've got $900 saved for my retirement, plus 250,000 little packets of sugar, ketchup, and crackers, and they will come in handy. Check your financial advisor on brokerage. Consider having your attorney or CPA review the report and provide their guidance. The reason I say that is because many people, they might find something and they don't quite understand what it means and what the relevance is. That's why I talk to your attorney or your CPA to review the report. And they give a lot of details on whatever citations or whatever malfeasance is recorded. And I also suggest you not use a family member as your investment advisor. Family members, even if they are professionals, you want someone who's going to be representing you, not what they think you need, but one, you are the prime mover. You want them to represent you. I also believe in not doing business with any firm that issues mandates to its brokers to sell certain products. For example, many of the national brokerage houses, they issue orders to their brokers to sell certain bonds, stocks, or what have you, and so on. All you have to do is ask your broker if he receives instructions. I urge you to stay away from anybody like that. Again, you want them representing you, not the company. The American Finance Industry Organization, FINRA, oversees more than 3,700 brokerage firms, 150,000 branch offices, 630,000 securities. They regulate the trading of equities, bonds, securities, futures, and options. Unless a firm is regulated by a different regulatory organization, it's required to be a FINRA member firm. 10 years ago, I became an arbitrator for FINRA. There are thousands of arbitrators. Anyone who feels that they've been harmed by their investment manager can file for arbitration or mediation. They can also file a lawsuit, of course. They can. It's a little more costly. But an arbitration panel of 3 individuals is selected by the 2 parties. Over the 10-year period, I've participated in a number of arbitrations. My only comment is what Bernie Madoff did is not unusual. Only the amounts were unusual. Some suggestions. When you opened your account with your financial advisor, you filled out a bunch of forms, including one which describes your investment objectives. Check and make sure they're correct. Are you conservative or aggressive? This is often where an investment strategy goes off the rails. I think that for someone in our age group to be aggressive in their financial posture, I think is very dangerous. I recommend conservative, but that's your decision. Just make sure that you and your broker are on the same path. Your objectives may also have changed over the years. Your needs may have changed. And again, you should make sure your advisor and you are on the same path. You should meet with your advisor at least quarterly and review your portfolio, its current status, its movement, and the reasons for sale. You should be cautious of complicated investments, and I include annuities in this category. Make sure you understand what it is and if it fits into your strategy. This is a very important thing. Discretionary trading. That's when a broker makes trades in a customer's account without first consulting the customer. That generally means the broker can decide at any time how much of a stock, bond, or security to buy and sell, and at what price without customer input. I urge you to not allow your broker to do discretionary trading. The majority of the arbitrations that I have participated in allow this practice. In my opinion, it is an open invitation for bad things to happen. It's enough about FINRA. My recommendation that you make certain that your money is being managed properly. We're going into some tough times. It's extremely important. If you follow my rules, you will never lose money. Rule number 1, never lose money. Let's talk about inertia. What is inertia? The inertia of an object is the tendency of the object to remain at rest or, if moving, to continue its motion. I love this cartoon. There is a family trying to generate momentum to do something, and they're confronted with inertia, which is preventing them from selling their house, getting rid of their stuff, or what have you. The aforementioned slide entitled Inertia is a perfect description how difficult it is to downsize, sell your house, and move. The slide came to me through the courtesy of Glenn Rufinock with the Wall Street Journal. Glenn was a reporter and editor for the Journal and currently writes the ongoing series in the Journal titled Ask Encore. It's for seniors. You should make this a part of your regular reading. It always has spot-on advice for seniors. You can Google Ask Encore and get past columns. Really insightful. Come and take a walk with me through this green and growing land. Walk through the meadows and the mountains and the sand. Walk through the valleys and the rivers and the plains. Walk through the sun and walk through the rain. Here is a land full of power and glory, beauty that words cannot recall. Oh, her power shall rest on the strength of her freedom. Glory shall rest on us all. From Colorado, Kansas, and the Carolinas to Virginia, Alaska, from the old to the new, Texas, Ohio, and the California shore. Tell me who could ask for more? Come and take a walk with me through this green and growing land. Walk through the meadows and the mountains and the sand. Walk through the valleys and the rivers and the plains. Walk through the sun and walk through the rain. Here is a land full of power and glory, beauty that words cannot recall. Oh, her power shall rest on the strength of her freedom. Glory shall rest on us all, on us all. In return for an increase in my allowance, I can offer you free unlimited at-home computer tech support. We all need that. Dad, Billy's trying to buy Baltic Avenue with Bitcoins. Those aren't worth anything. Dad, I've decided to make some money to supplement my allowance. Good for you. Got a little mowing job? Nope. Tip jar. And by the way, 15 to 20% is customary. For many reasons that seniors have inertia to remain at rest, here's just one of them. I heard that the rent on senior residences is $4,000 to $5,000 per month. I can't afford that. The average monthly rental for a single individual in a senior residence and independent living rental property, not a buy-in property, is about $4,000 per month. This includes your meals, apartment cleaning, laundry, electricity, water, all utilities, usually basic cable and telephone, and all necessary maintenance. It also includes, of course, accepting the current situation, Activities, movies, games, and other entertainment, usually every night. Outdoor activities, including museum trips, restaurants, special venues where transportation is furnished. And again, these are do not apply today in the circumstances we're in. Free transportation to prearranged medical or personal appointments. We still do that. The only reason for leaving the property in our residence is for necessary medical treatments. Free transportation to go grocery shopping or stores of general interest. Weekly fun trips. We hope those be back someday. One of the expenses you will incur at a senior residence is renter's insurance, but it's usually far less than your home insurance. You may also incur additional expense for personal enhancements to your apartment. For example, if you want additional cable services, internet, or phone services. As a renter, your lease will probably be a 12-month term and you'll probably have annual rent increases. What you really have to do is to determine what it costs to live in your house. Your monthly mortgage, fortunately, if your mortgage is paid, that's great. Taxes on the house, insurance, any homeowner fees, association fees, special assessments, annual maintenance, and that's a big factor. Plumbing, windows, lawn care, tree removal, storm damage, casualty losses. Your basic utilities, of course, housekeeping, telephone, internet, cable, food, groceries, dining out, sports, all those things, they add up. This is a form that's easily obtainable, but this is what you do. You really calculate what you're spending and what the difference is in terms of your expenses and, of course, total income. That's part one. And, of course, the other things that you have to add in are all the other things, the cost of living in your house. How about home repairs and improvements, determining what you're going to have to do? Every roof is going to have to eventually be replaced. Same with air conditioning, painting, driveway repair. Always use foundation issues. And the cost of living, especially in senior modifications. This is a recap of what's involved, just estimates. Now, although if you would like any of those forms, I'm happy to send them to you, but most of them are available from your financial planner or broker. But meet with your financial advisor. Review your annual income from all sources, Social Security, pensions, annuities, investment income, and compensation. There are still seniors, of course, who are still working. Calculate your annual expenses and tell you where you are and where you need to be. The next critical piece of this is your net worth statement. This will tell you how much money you have to help finance your future living expenses. When you take your house and convert, if your house is paid off, and you convert the value of your home, whatever it may be, and put that into cash that's available for you, it makes a big difference. And that's a net worth statement. Of course, I would still love you if you lost all your money. I'd miss you too. It's time to get serious about our retirement fund. You collect all of our returnable bottles, and I'll look for loose change in the sofa. Now you have a pretty good idea of what you can afford and what it's costing you to age in place in your home. Remember, be sure to include the cost of senior accessorizing your house. And you will also have to include, if you need home health care, what the cost is, depending on how much you need. If 24/7, you won't believe what 24/7 care costs. What are the intangible benefits of moving to a senior residence? Safety and security. I was concerned that if something happened to me. Good meals with easy access. Even now, the meals are delivered to our room, 3 meals a day, and they're really good. Obviously, we're eating in paper containers, but they've done a remarkable job. Easy social activities. This week, we're going to start to ease up a little bit where we can have social activities with 10 people. Ability to be mobile after you can't or shouldn't drive. The freedom to engage or not engage in a group setting. Support system of friends and staff. Leaving the uncertainty of home issues behind. There are also other issues that are reflected in senior case studies. Seniors who felt safer moving into a senior residence after a rash of crime in their old neighborhood. Seniors who felt the neighborhood change and their friends left, leaving them alone. They miss their homes, but they don't miss the maintenance and loneliness. I've talked to a number of women especially who They've been in their home for many years, but the neighborhood changed. It's much younger. Lots of young people with children and so on. It's not what they really wanted. Seniors who were thrilled they moved early after knee or major surgery with more limited mobility. Seniors worried about losing driving privileges and future health issues made the change, find it has slowed the progression of their serious health issues due to less stress. This is a great old song, again by the Statler Brothers. I really like to. And I think we all know it's so hard to see a good movie today. Everybody knows when you go to the show, you can't take the kids along. You've got to read the paper and know the code of GPG and RNX. Gotta know what the movie's about before you even go. Tex Ritter's gone and Disney's dead. Screen is filled with sex. Whatever happened to Randolph Scott riding range alone? Whatever happened to Gene and Tex and Roy and Rex the Durango Kid? Whatever happened to Randolph Scott, his horse plain as can be? Whatever happened to Randolph Scott has happened to the best of me. Everybody's trying to make a comment about our doubts and fears. True Grit's the only movie I've really understood in years. You gotta take your analyst along to see if it's fit to see. Whatever happened to Randolph Scott has happened to the best of me. Whatever happened to Johnny Mac Brown and Alan Rocky Lane? Whatever happened to Lash LaRue? I'd love to see them again. Whatever happened to Smiley Burnett, Tim Holt, and Gene Autry? Whatever happened to all of these has happened to the best of me. Whatever happened to all of these has happened to the best of me. Let's start to wrap it up. There's that old inertia again. What is it you're waiting for? If you can't answer that question, then it's likely you're waiting for something to happen. If something does happen, it's likely that's going to make the rest of your life much more difficult. Please don't wait for that to happen. I know you've all read about the severity of the coronavirus, its impact on senior residences, assisted living facilities, and nursing homes. Because we're the vulnerable population, we can easily pick up the virus from innocent contact, usually staff, outside aides, or visitors. I can't comment on any other facility except where we live, the Renaissance on Peachtree in Atlanta. From mid-February to the present, their sole mission has been to protect us. February, we began a lockdown. No visitors, social distancing at meals, and all social events, temperatures taken daily. In March, we went to total quarantine. No leaving your apartment except for emergency medical. All meals, snacks, and treats are brought to your apartment. Visitors are not permitted. All packages and shipments are held for 24 hours, sprayed and cleaned, and then delivered to your apartment. Groceries at your order, and we frequently just Kroger's a few doors away, and they're over-delivering every day. If you leave without permission, you may not return. Temperature and their testing is done frequently. Everyone is wearing masks, of course. We speak and Zoom frequently with family and friends. Aging in place today has severe consequences, necessitating outside trips and contacts that can put seniors in jeopardy. Wherever you are, I urge you to follow the rules and guidelines issued by federal, state, and local municipal authorities. I am happy that we are where we are. Clarification, I'm not selling anything. My mission is to get you to do something and not procrastinate. If I can be of any help along the way, please feel free to reach out to me. Wish I'd be happy to recommend trusted providers with whom I have worked. One of the great benefits of teaching senior programs is the opportunity to meet so many of my fellow seniors. That is, I can't tell you how much fun and enjoyable that is. Zooming a lot of, and I do a lot of history classes, have the chance to just interact. We take an intermission and talk at the end of the program, learn about the different lives so many people live. I'm telling you, it is just absolutely, it's fantastic. We all have so many shared experiences and interesting lives. I'm so proud and fortunate to have met so many of my people. These are my people. This is the land where my forefathers lie. These are my people. In brotherhood, we're heirs of a creed to live by. a creed that proclaims that my loved one's blood stains. This is my land, and these are my people. These are my people. They were born on and live by the land. These are my people, and their cities were raised by hard-working hands. And their faces do tell that they're holding on well to this their land. Yes, these are my people. These are my people. These are the ones who will reach for the stars. These are my people, that a light of the earth, you can tell they are ours. A new step to take and a new day will break for this my land. Yes, these are my people, for this my land. Yes, these are my people. And that's my next job there. Anyway, thank you all for coming. Please fire away with any questions that you have. I'll be happy to help in any way that I can.
Thank you so much, Brandt. We're going to let you take a little bit of a breather, get some water. And just to remind everybody that if you missed any of this webinar, you can catch it on www.seniorlivinglive.com next week. But to tide you over until then, part one of Brandt's webinar, which we recorded back in June, is currently up on seniorlivinglive.com. You can catch that there in its entirety. And now we can continue with some of the questions, a few that were left over from earlier and some new questions. First, I actually have a question for you, Brandt. You had some great examples of sort of your own past and your own history. Hurricane Hugo, obviously something that you lived through. Was there ever a point in time when you and Jenny, you made the decision to move into senior living, while you were living in senior living the past 6 years, that you actually said out loud, thank goodness we made this decision?
I can't tell you how many times we have said to ourselves, thank God we made this decision. Because during the course of the 6 years, Jenny sadly had 2 back surgeries, had double pneumonia last year. If we had been trying to deal with this in a 3-story condominium where she couldn't walk stairs, we would have had to make a bedroom downstairs, which would have been impossible, didn't have a full bathroom there, and so on. So over and over we say to ourselves, thank goodness we made this decision when we did. And not that these things are easy to overcome, they're not. But we have so much support here, not only in terms of friends and neighbors, but the staff is just terrific.
Yeah, that's it. So we want to go back to some of the earlier questions we had. And Salvatore, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly, had the question, trust ownership or individual ownership, and when is it necessary?
Well, I don't believe in ownership of anything, trust or otherwise. I believe that when you sell your house, it should be your last real estate investment. Everything that you do should be flexible, since you don't know what's coming at you. I'm just not and you can do trust ownership if it's a buy-in property, as there are many very nice, very attractive. The buy-in property, the key of buy-in properties is they're continuous care properties. You go there and you'll be there the rest of your life. And of course, and you're paying a large sum for that. I don't believe it's the proper destination for us. I just don't.
Okay. And Susan had asked, she wanted a question, maybe perhaps why you were against buying, and what do you do with your profit on the sold house? Do you put it in the bank and earn 5%, or what do you do?
Well, there's a lot of good questions embodied in there. The reason I'm opposed to the buy-in properties is because and I'm not an attorney, but I urge you, if you're looking at one, to have your attorney review it. Because you're not buying condominium. What you're actually buying is really the cost of continuous care. You don't own anything to you. When the property is sold, you do the great beyond, you'll get 60, 70, or 90% of your money back, or your heirs will get that, and so on. But there's a lot of conditions. You have to restore things that you took out. You may have to make changes and so on. I just don't think it's just the right place for us to be when we're trying to be flexible and maintain awareness of what's everything that's going on in us. And again, cash is king.
Sure. And maybe on the heels of that, Gerald wants to know, you advised against allowing discretionary investing. He says he assumes that the alternative is to do it yourself. Without the training or experience to do it yourself, how is that doable or workable?
No, not necessarily, because what you do, discretionary trading is where the trader can do everything without your permission. Normal, what you do is your broker will recommend certain things, and you have a chance to review it. You may not know everything about those stocks. I mean, I know, I'm fairly knowledgeable, but I don't know everything about this stock. I know a little bit about the companies, what's their return, what's their success, and so on. You want to try and keep it simple, but you want to understand your relationship with your broker so that you depend on. That's why what you do is every quarter you sit down with them and say, how are we doing? What worked? What didn't work? What changes are you recommending? That is, you've got to be part of the conversation. You just can't say, take care of my money. I don't want to be involved. That's money from it. Doesn't work. I can't do it.
Sure. And for those who have asked, how do I determine what I can afford? And I think you did come back and answer some of that in the back half of the webinar. Just to want a reminder that it was sent out in the chat to all of you who are watching right now that there is a cost calculator that can help you break that down. The web link is on your chat. If you go there, you can click on that and that will take you to a cost calculator, which is very similar to the sheet that you had, Brandt.
Right.
Now, where did you find some of those sheets, and are you willing to share some of those sheets if you receive emails from the individuals here today?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I will. They're all available, but Arbor has done a wonderful job in coming up with some really basic background sheets that help calculate cost, what your expenses are, and so on. They've done a wonderful job with the fundamentals.
Great. Now back to Susan's question. So this was a question we received earlier in the webinar, and she asked, how do you find out if you will like the people in your new community? That's huge, right?
Well, I do another program, which I expect to be doing for Arbor Company called Living with Strangers. It's linked to senior residents. And it's one of the main ideas, the fact that all of our life we've been living with strangers. When we went to kindergarten, when we went to grammar school, when we went to high school, we went to college, sorority, when we went in the military or we went to work, we're always mixing with strangers. And the objective, of course, is take strangers and make them into friends. And that's what you do any place. I mean, there's 240 people living here. Are we friends with everybody? No, not at all. But we're friends with people where we have common bonds and interests and so on. It's just a great support. It's just like if you're in a sorority or a fraternity or whatever, you didn't like everybody in the house, but there were people that you were very close to, they became lifelong friends. It's the same situation. It's a good idea. And they say when a lot of work, let me just mention this real quick, Melissa. The fact is you can do a lot of background work on the internet right now, going in to look at the sites, the companies, the residences that you're interested in, look at their backgrounds, look at the ratings, look at all the comments. They're very helpful. It gives you the idea that when, and we're slowly going to loosen up, that when you go visit them, you know what you're looking at, what you want. Part of it is if you want to be in a certain part of town because you have family nearby, that's a big guidepost. You'll definitely want to be in that particular area. Other people want to be away from the city. So.
Absolutely. And a lot of these communities have Facebook pages where you can actually see the members of the community who are living there interacting with each other, what kinds of engagement opportunities they have. Of course, that all looks a little different now because of the pandemic, but there are still engagement opportunities to be had even while social distancing. So might not be what it was back in January, but certainly all these engagement coordinators are attempting to try to bring some sort of normalcy on that end. to all of the residents at the community. So great answer there. We do have another question. This is also from Susan. What is the age you think that people should be considering making this big move, assuming good health?
There is no, we're all in good health at the moment. We don't know what's coming at us. We have residents who are in their 60s here. We have residents, one of our neighbors is 104 and still very active. It's not an age issue. For example, in my opinion, that a single woman or widow, I think is more vulnerable and should think at an earlier age than otherwise. I just think it's not an age thing. Everybody knows their own health risk and what their heredity is and so on. It's something that I urge you not to think of age as any metric that's meaningful. It's your own health history, it's your own circumstances, your own concerns about safety, security, and so on. And obviously your family as well too. Most of your family wants you to do something that provides safety and security for you.
Yeah, and I did not know this today, but in your 80s, and I was shocked to hear that number, that you have a son who is 60. That is incredible to me. You and Jenny, in my opinion, having met you both, in excellent health. So what was the decision maker for you? What was the deciding factor in good health to make that move to senior living?
Well, the health history in my family isn't great. I've had a heart attack many years ago. I'm fortunate. I exercise every day. And I encourage people, if you're not exercising, do something. Walk, do anything. There's so many great exercise programs on TV and just sitting in a chair. You don't need equipment or anything like that. It is so important to keep your body moving. I just urge people to do that and stay socially engaged. Those are the real two critical things. There's plenty of food, no matter where you go. It's just, there's too much food. We have to be careful not eating too much. Otherwise, we'll be candidates for my 600-pound life. So that, I'm going to try not to do that.
We have a couple more minutes here, and I do want to try to get to all of the questions here. So let's go back. Maybe this was missed earlier in the conversation, but someone wants practical suggestions, please, on how to get rid of the stuff you don't want to keep.
Well, you hire a professional downsizer. Hire someone who's been down this trail. They know so much. For example, everybody has a collection. Whatever, mine was baseball collection, huge collection. But everybody's collection, first thing, and one of the reasons, the obstacles is that, well, I don't want to get on eBay and sell it piece by piece. A good downsizer will tell you what your collection is worth and direct you to the right people. So that you need so many decisions to be made all along the course of the way about what you need to keep and what you don't want to keep. That's why having a professional advisor. I work with someone I have a great deal of confidence in. If anybody would like that name, I'll be happy to direct you to them.
And you did talk a little bit about earlier in the webinar about inheritance, and if you have children and multiple children, and somebody wants to know what can you do with those hungry inheritees? Great question.
Oh boy. I'll tell you, I urge every family to have a family conference and have a family meeting and lay it out ahead of time. The worst thing I think you can do is surprise anybody. Share your will with your children. Let them know. Most importantly, share your will and your current financials with your spouse. You can't believe how many people I've encountered where the spouse has no idea where the money is. Make sure that your spouse is protected because and sometimes it's the woman who's managing the money, sometimes it's the man. Whoever, make sure that each spouse understands where the money is because when it happens, it's going to be traumatic and you don't certainly want people scrambling around. But I urge families to have family meetings and lay it out. I know it's not an easy conversation to have, We had it 5 years ago with our kids. They came to town. We sat down. I laid out all my financials and so on. I wanted them to know, because if I wasn't around, they would be able to guide my life. But have candid discussions.
Yeah, transparency is key. And like you said, make sure you have those conversations early and often.
Yes.
So that there are no questions. There's no fighting. Everybody knows what the expectations are.
That's exactly right.
Great advice. Last question, and it comes from Chris, and I love this, and I already know the answer to this, but you can answer it way better than I can. He says, my wife and I get along well, but we've got enough room to spend some time apart during the day. Now, isn't that important? He says, we worry that we need that. Can they get that at a senior living community?
Absolutely. We're fortunate. We're in a 3-bedroom apartment, but that's because I'm still working. And my wife has a factory going. It's her studio because she does a lot of knitting, she does a lot of sewing, she makes a lot of things and so on. So it's an arts and crafts room. And we have obviously our living room and so on. But having space, and that's why for a couple to have the space where they have a bedroom and then a room with space. And sometimes most people need strictly a home office. And with an extra bedroom, you can get that. But that is important. I really agree. Everybody's really got to be able to have space.
Yeah, very important. Even now, you need some space. It helps make a marriage strong, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
great answer and great information all the way around. Brandt, thank you. Thank you to everybody who participated today. I think we had a really nice flurry of questions for you, both in the
Excellent questions.
middle of the webinar and here at the end of the webinar. So great job, everybody out there who contributed. Thank you, Brandt, once again. It is always a pleasure to have you on these webinars. And we know we will see you again very soon for another webinar to help all of our seniors out there sort of navigate senior living. So again, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming.
Yes, thank you. And we still want to know when that album drops. So anytime you can just let us know when we can pick up a copy, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
It'll be a 78 or a 33. Okay.
Okay, perfect. So again, for those of you who are joining us, this will be rebroadcast on www.seniorlivinglive.com next week. In the meantime, if you missed part 1 of Brandt's webinar, Aging in Place is an Illusion, you can catch that on www.seniorlivinglive.com right now. Catch part 1. We've got part 2 today. And as always, we thank you for watching and have a great day, everybody. See you soon.
Stay safe.